समझा पापा।
RBI कहता है
जानकार बनिए, सतर्क रहिए।
From New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour, US lists Houthis as terrorists. Yemen's Houthis hit another US-operated ship. US shipping operator Genco confirms attack on Genco Picardy bulk carrier.
Secretary of State announced the designation of the Houthis as a specially designated global terrorist.
Victory for British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. UK Parliament's lower house approves controversial Rwanda asylum legislation. Indian economy expected to grow at 7.3% in current fiscal, says RBI Governor at World Economic Forum in Davos. India prevails over Afghanistan in a double super over thriller, clinches the series 3-0. Houthis rebels have targeted a US-owned vessel in the Red Sea on Wednesday after Washington redesignated the group as global terrorists. Houthi rebels said it made a direct hit with missiles on the US Genco Picardy bulk carrier. The attack, which marked the second on the US-linked vessel in the area this week, was confirmed by US shipping operator Genco, which said its vessel was hit by a projectile while it transited the Gulf of Aden with a cargo of phosphate rock. Genco said there were no injuries to the crew and the ship suffered limited damage to its gangway and was on a course out of the area. The United States on Wednesday relisted Houthis as terrorists in response to the Red Sea attacks. The redesignation of the Houthis as a global terrorist is in response to the group's attacks on the commercial shipping in the region. US officials said the specially designated global terrorist cutting off funding and weapons the Houthis have used to attack or hijack the ships. The new designation will also bar people and companies in the US from offering any support to the Houthis.
The Secretary of State announced the designation of the Houthis as a specially designated global terrorist, effective February 16th for threatening the security of the United States. Since November, the Houthis have launched numerous missiles and drones towards international merchant ships, as well as U.S. and partner naval vessels defending the safety and security of commercial shipping across the Red Sea. These attacks against international shipping have endangered mariners and disrupted the free flow of commerce and freedom of navigation. For the past several weeks, the United States, with allies and partners around the world, has made clear that there must be consequences for those attacks. And today's designation follows on our military action last week to hold the Houthis accountable for their actions.
The United States has conducted another round of strikes against Houthi targets in Yemen on Wednesday. The U.S. military said on Wednesday that its forces conducted strikes on 14 Houthi missiles that were loaded to be fired from Yemen. U.S. Central Command said in a statement posted on the social media platform X that the Houthi missiles presented an imminent threat to merchant vessels and U.S. Navy ships in the region. A shipment of medical supplies meant for Israeli hostages in Gaza and civilians has entered Gaza on Wednesday as part of a deal brokered by Qatar and France. Earlier, 2 Qatari planes arrived in the north of Egypt's Sinai Peninsula, where supplies were unloaded and transferred to the Rafah border crossing with Gaza. One of the planes was carrying medical packages for the hostages captured by Hamas on October 7th. Under the agreement thrashed out on Tuesday, medicines along with humanitarian aid are to be supplied to civilians in Gaza in exchange for delivering drugs needed by hostages held there. Israel has meanwhile increased attacks on Hamas terrorists in southern Gaza's Khan Yunis. Israeli military spokesperson Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari said in a televised statement that Israeli forces have killed more than 30 terrorists in Khan Yunis over the past 24 hours. He added that the forces have expanded their operations towards a Hamas regiment in the area.
The division active in the Khan Yunis area is operating with the largest forces. It has expanded its attack. It was in the east of Khan Yunis. It has expanded its attack to another Hamas regiment, which is in southern Khan Yunis, and is now carrying out an attack there. Over the past 24 hours, there were tough battles there. Sadly, there were also casualties. Our forces have killed more than 30 militants in the past 24 hours in the area.
Meanwhile, members of the U.S. Congress held a vigil for hostages held in Gaza. Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives, Mike Johnson, led a vigil on the steps of the U.S. Capitol for those held hostage by Hamas terrorists in Gaza since October 7th last year. Let's get you updates on Russia-Ukraine war now. In a nightly video address, President Volodymyr Zelensky urged Ukrainians to seize the initiative to help determine the course of the war and secure worldwide support.
There was a strategic level of discussions of our actions for this year, and not only of defensive ones. Ukraine needs an ambitious and proactive perspective so that the initiative lies within our state, not with the enemy, so that the end of the war will depend on Ukrainian actions. The world supports those who have a perspective, and this is a fundamental task to preserve the initiative so that there is an opportunity to become stronger.
The White House National Security spokesperson John Kirby emphasized on the critical and urgent need for continued security assistance flow to Ukraine on Wednesday. Kirby outlined the pressing need for some weapons systems.
This will be an opportunity for the President and for the National Security Team to make sure that members of Congress fully understand the desperate, urgent need for weapons and capabilities for Ukraine to continue to flow. As you know, the last security assistance package was December 27th. There hasn't been one since. There won't be one unless or until we can get some funding. They are expending what they have. And I won't get into their inventory lists, but there are some weapon systems for which they are in more need than others right now, and they have to expend them given ongoing combat.
Republican U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Mike Johnson said meeting with President Joe Biden and Democrats in the Senate over Ukraine aid and immigration policy was productive on Wednesday.
We had a productive meeting, I think, House and Senate leaders. The President was very forthright. I told the President what I have been saying for many months, and that is that we must have change at the border, substantive policy change. We're not insistent upon a particular name of a piece of legislation, but we are insistent that the elements have to be meaningful. The House is ready to act.
French President Emmanuel Macron said Russia cannot be allowed to win the war in Ukraine in Davos on Wednesday. Macron added that Europeans must renew their efforts this year to help Kyiv, regardless of the outcome of the U.S. presidential election.
Nous allons tout faire pour essayer de tenir le monde ensemble.
We are going to do everything to try to hold the world together and not give in to the risk of division, and try to have an effective agenda that will ensure that Russia cannot and must not win in Ukraine. Because what is at stake in Ukraine is our values, our collective security in Europe, in the Caucasus and in the entire region. Therefore, to do this, 2024 will be a key year for Europeans. We must show that we know how to provide visibility and recommit our efforts, whatever happens in the United States.
A person was killed in the Russian missiles attack on residential district of Ukraine's Kharkiv on Wednesday. The regional governor and the military said the attack killed a woman employee of a heating and power plant and damaged an educational building. 2 Russian S-300 missiles struck Kharkiv, injuring 17 people on Wednesday. And now we get you some updates on the developments at the World Economic Forum in Davos on Wednesday. The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken described India as an extraordinary success story. He said that leaders of the two countries enjoy excellent relations. Here's a report by Sagar Chakravarti.
The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has termed India as an extraordinary success story. Blinken hailed the policies and programs of Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
We see the remarkable achievements that Prime Minister Modi has achieved, moved forward under his watch that have materially benefited and materially positively affected so many Indian lives. We also see a relationship between our countries that is in a new place, at a new level.
During an interview at the World Economic Forum Annual Meeting 2024 in Davos, Blinken also said US President Joe Biden and PM Modi enjoy excellent relations and their conversations cover all aspects, including US-India ties.
A constant, regular part of our conversation is the conversation about democracy, about rights, these fundamental concerns about democracy, about human rights. And we've done that. We do it in different ways, in different places. In some places, maybe it's more overt, maybe it's more vocal. In others, because of the nature of the relationship we may have with the country, with the government, it's part of a very sustained, very real conversation.
The Russia-Ukraine conflict also dominated the agenda at the World Economic Forum underway in Davos. Addressing media on the sidelines of the forum, Polish President Andrzej Duda said the country needs NATO's support to secure airspace and strengthen security.
I told the Secretary General that an incident with a Russian rocket entering Polish airspace shows a clear necessity to strengthen Poland's security. The presence of systems guarding our skies, our airspace. I remind you that we are in the process of building a 3-layered air defense and missile defense system in our country. But the system is under construction. Today we need support, and that's what we discussed.
On the sidelines of the World Economic Forum, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said it is very important for the 27-member bloc to unanimously approve the debated financial aid for war-torn Ukraine.
I think it's very important to engage with all 27 member states of the European Union to get the 50 billion euro for 4 years for Ukraine up and running. And this is the phase we're in right now. It's a preparation for the extraordinary European Council on the 1st of February. It's hard work. We have discussed many different issues. For me, it's very important. My personal priority is to have an agreement by 27.
Davos also had some bilateral meetings where India's senior ministers discussed about many things. In fact, India's Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri met with the CEO of Varo Energy, Dev Sanyal, and Brian Sykes, Chairman, President and CEO of Cargill. Minister Puri also met with Marina Silva, the Environment Minister of Brazil, whom he knew since his tenure as India's ambassador to Brazil. He later held another meeting with Øyvind Eriksen, President and CEO of Akertech USA, inviting him to collaborate with Indian industries in oil and gas sector. Indian Minister for Women and Child Development Smriti Irani asserted that the New Delhi G20 summit ensured that the gender issue was discussed in the mainstream during a lively session on women leadership for global transformation at the luncheon meeting hosted on the margins of the World Economic Forum in Davos. With agency inputs, Shagnik Chakraborty, DD India.
Ukraine's Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba said on Wednesday that support for Ukraine was still committed and unwavering. Kuleba made the remarks in a panel that included UK Foreign Secretary David Cameron at the World Economic Forum in Davos. Kuleba also said that the world has the capacity to handle a number of conflicts at the same time.
The most recent visit of Prime Minister Sunak to Ukraine and the agreements reached in the course of this visit demonstrate how committed and unwavering support is.
David Cameron said the most important part of this peace plan is restoring territorial integrity of Ukraine, and the need of the hour is frozen assets, not frozen conflict.
If you look at the allies that back Ukraine, and back Ukraine not just with money and diplomatic support, but also with weapons, our GDPs combined are 25 times the size of the Russian GDP. We've just got to make our support count to help the Ukrainians in their brave struggle.
Argentina's Libertarian President Javier Milei discussed the country's deep economic crisis and its $44 billion IMF program with International Monetary Fund Chief Kristalina Georgieva in Davos on Wednesday. Both the leaders also discussed decisive steps underway to bring down inflation and promote private sector-led growth. Argentina is racing to salvage its massive loan program with the IMF. Argentinian president is pushing for major economic reforms, including spending cuts and deregulation, while facing high poverty. Milei also met British Foreign Minister David Cameron, discussing deep commercial ties. In his first overseas tour, Milei slammed socialism and praised free markets in a speech at Davos. China and the Philippines agreed to improve maritime communication and to properly manage conflicts and differences through friendly talks in regard to the issues around the South China Sea. Now, according to a statement from the Chinese Foreign Ministry, China's Assistant Foreign Minister Nong Rong and Philippines Foreign Ministry Under-Secretary Teresa Lazaro held an in-depth exchange of views on the situation while co-chairing the 8th meeting of the China-Philippines Bilateral Consultation Mechanism on the South China Sea in Shanghai. The two countries have had numerous confrontations recently in certain disputed waters in the South China Sea, with both trading accusations of provoking conflict in the economically strategic waterway. We're heading for a short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour, nuclear envoys of Japan, United States and South Korea will hold talks in Seoul on Thursday. Ecuador again grabs eyeballs for wrong reasons. A prosecutor murdered in the province of Guayas, inviting the wrath of the government. U.S. reels under spine-chilling cold. Heavy snow blocks roads in western New York and Texas. Government issues travel bans.
Ram Gulela Temple in Ramkot is not far away from Ram Janmabhoomi main temple complex. And now we delve into the story behind this ancient temple.
ये राजा विक्रमादित्य से पहले का आश्रम है। यहाँ भगवान गुलेल खेला करते थे। तो उस जगह पे आप बैठे हुए हैं जहाँ भगवान का क्रीड़ा स्थल था। इसलिए इस मंदिर का नाम राम गुलेला मंदिर।
The Ram Gulela temple complex is being refurbished but also houses ashram or spiritual hermitage or monastery for young disciples of Hinduism and its various trustees.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. Let's get to more international updates. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has won a key vote on the legislation designed to send some asylum seekers to Rwanda. The opposition Labour Party, however, says that it is a gimmick and the legislation still faces parliamentary hurdles. DD India's Ollie Barrett reports from London.
There's no doubt that this is a victory for Rishi Sunak, the UK Prime Minister. The overall vote on his Rwanda legislation passing through the House of Commons at this stage. But the last 48 hours have seen significant rebellions from some of his own Conservative MPs who wanted that legislation to be, in their view, tougher to try and make sure that the Rwanda scheme can get up and running. It's not a battle that is over yet either. The legislation now goes towards the UK's upper chamber, the House of Lords. We could well see there attempts to amend the legislation from its current form, and so there could well be further parliamentary battles to come before the legislation is completely on the statute books. And that's important for UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak because he wants to see flights to Rwanda, deporting some asylum seekers, up and running in the early part of 2024, and the parliamentary schedule may not allow that. We've also been hearing from the opposition Labour Party who say that this scheme won't work. They say it's a gimmick. They've been pointing to what they say is chaos chaos in the Conservative Party in recent days. The idea of the scheme is that some asylum seekers will be sent to Rwanda to see their claims processed there. The idea is that overall you act as a deterrent and stop some people trying to make often dangerous journeys to the UK in the first place. The government believes it will help bring overall illegal immigration numbers down. As I say, opposition parties dispute that, and the parliamentary battle is not over yet. Ollie Barrett in London, reporting for DD India.
The top nuclear envoys of South Korea, the United States and Japan were set to hold talks in Seoul on Thursday. The talks between Seoul's nuclear envoy Kim Gun and his respective US and Japanese counterparts Chung Pak and Hiroyuki Namazu come just days after North Korean leader Kim Jong-un denounced South Korea as an invariable enemy and vowed to completely occupy the South in the event of war. The talks also come a day after North Korean Foreign Minister Cho Sun-hui met with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow amid growing concerns over their deepening relationship. The US and its allies have accused the North of providing armed support to Moscow for use in its war in Ukraine in return for Russia's assistance in Pyongyang's advanced weapons development. Ecuadorian prosecutor Cesar Suarez, investigating TV studio attack, has been assassinated in Guayaquil, Attorney General said on Wednesday. The TV station attack and recent burst of violence in Ecuador led President Daniel Noboa to declare a 60-day state of emergency on Monday. Attorney General Diana Salazar said that the crime would not undermine the authorities' commitment to Ecuadorian society. Her office was conducting a preliminary investigation at the site of the killing, she said, expressing her grief for Suarez's family.
In view of the murder of our colleague Cesar Suarez, prosecutor of the National Specialized Unit for Investigations Against Transnational Organized Crime in Gayos, I am going to be emphatic. Organized crime groups, criminals, terrorists will not stop our commitment to Ecuadorian society. We will continue with more strength and commitment.
Ecuadorian government on Wednesday condemned the murder of a prosecutor in the province of Guayas, which is one of the most violent areas of the country. Ecuadorian Defense Minister Giancarlo Lofredo expressed his condolences to the family of prosecutor Cesar Suarez and stressed the government's commitment to support the justice system in solving the crime.
On behalf of national government, we would like to express our condolences to the prosecutor's family, Cesar Suarez. We reject all forms of violence in response to the conflict we are experiencing. We reaffirm the government's strong commitment to support the administration of justice. Ecuadorians are together and united in single force, a single Ecuador.
All right, let's get to weather updates from across the globe now. Winter weather affecting the U.S. has brought travel bans to upstate New York and icy roads to the Pacific Northwest. The government has placed many travel bans in western New York while asking people to stay indoors unless necessary. Freezing temperatures in several regions triggered peak power demand in various areas after record consumption of natural gas for heating and power generation. The severe winter storm also prompted shutting of Gulf Coast refinery in Texas, triggering malfunctions and impacting North Dakota's oil production. Severe cold caused explosion of a pool pump in Allen, Texas, as temperatures dropped to 10 degrees Fahrenheit. This was captured in a private CCTV camera earlier this week. A severe winter storm brought snow across vast areas of the U.S. this week. According to the National Weather Service, another Arctic cold front will arrive on Thursday, with overnight lows falling to the 10s and 20s each night through the weekend. In West Seneca, in New York, in the New York state of the U.S., residents were seen working hard to plow out the deep layer of snow after it blanketed the streets and houses in the aftermath of the massive snowstorm. All right, from U.S. to Canada, the temperature sank below zero in Canada's Toronto, and Bathers took a dip in Lake Ontario, braving the chills caused by lower temperatures, which are expected to dip as low as -10 degrees Celsius. The group of bathers were there to experience positive benefits of cold exposure to health, including better circulation, reduced inflammation, and possible benefits in staving off Alzheimer's. Severe winter weather also caused chaos across northern Europe. Officials in several countries advised people to stay at home on Wednesday as severe weather caused chaos on the roads and disrupted public transport. Barcelona geared up for new water restrictions as Spain's northeastern region of Catalonia is dealing with the worst drought ever recorded. The Catalan government said that it will declare an emergency and impose new restrictions once its reservoirs level falls to 16% from its current 16.2% level. The new rules will impose ban on personal swimming pools, while public pools will be given partial respite, allowing domestic water usage to 200 litres per person a day and water for agricultural, cattle and industrial use to decline by 80%, 50% and 25% respectively. And now we get to weather updates from across India. Cold waves continue to grip several states of India. Dense to very dense fog was observed in few pockets of Punjab, Haryana, West Rajasthan and Bihar, while dense fog in few pockets of national capital of Delhi, West Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand, Odisha and Assam was also witnessed. More than 20 flights, both national and international, have been delayed. While the impact of cold wave is clearly seen on the railways, according to the list issued by Northern Railways, 18 trains coming to Delhi have been delayed. Passengers there at the railway station braving the cold weather conditions, and because of which trains coming to Delhi have been delayed. And we've seen how in the past few days temperatures have dipped to record lows in the national capital and in the northern parts of the country as well. All right, our correspondent Tapas Bhattacharya is joining us with the latest update on India's weather. Tapas, good morning. We tell our viewers that North India is reeling under a wave of cold spell. You tell us, how has the morning begun in Delhi? Though we tell our viewers that some pockets of the national capital witnessed dense fog.
Absolutely. This morning, we saw the visibility reach almost 50 meter at some places, especially the airport. If you take a close look at the airport and nearby area, the visibility was as low as almost 50 meter. And the other places also, the northwest part also, we see the visibility has gone down considerably since yesterday night. So that was one part of it. As per IMD, it is expected that the situation will remain like that for another 4 to 5 days. Our Delhi, Chandigarh, Haryana, parts of Uttar Pradesh, some parts of Himachal Pradesh, the pockets of the northwest part. There is orange alert for today as well as for tomorrow. So that is one part of it. And as per IMD, Delhiites and people in the neighboring area, they don't there won't be much of a respite from this cold wave condition in the next few days. Preeti.
All right, Tapas, so no respite for the next few days is what you tell us. But let us hear more from you. How far does this condition of dense fog and cold, does it have a bearing on the fog condition, on the smog conditions in the national capital, in the air quality index?
So the air quality index is a different thing altogether. This basically is right now we are experiencing a foggy day condition that we generally see during the winter season in the northwest part of the country. And although the AQI level has also deteriorated, that there is no denying that part. It is somewhere in the region of 320 and hovering. Yesterday it was over 350. So we have seen the pollution level, having a bearing of impact on this weather also. But they are two different things altogether. Right now, what we see is a foggy condition. The AQI level is bad. There is no denying that part, but it has nothing to do with the smoggy condition that we generally see during a couple of months back. Last couple of months back, when there was a lot of a problem conjunction with the weather condition and the AQI level that gone down. But yes, it's a double whammy for Delhiites. It's a double whammy for people who are staying in nearby areas where the AQI level has dipped, the weather condition has worsened, and they have to take into consideration both the situation. Preeti.
Joining in with those details. So that was our correspondent Tapas Bhattacharya telling us more about the weather conditions in Delhi. Up next, we're heading for a short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Chamoli district of North Indian state of Uttarakhand covered in white. The region witnesses the first snowfall of the season. The holy city of Ayodhya witnesses an unprecedented surge in tourists ahead of the consecration ceremony on 22nd January. Stay with us as we get to how people in Ayodhya are gearing up for this welcome change. Not just Ayodhya, but places as far as Mumbai drenched in the spirit of welcoming Lord Ram. How? We'll show you ahead.
This place, Makhoda Dham.
मख माने जो है यज्ञ होता है, तो इसी जगह पे जब दशरथ जी महाराज के पास जब कोई पुत्र नहीं था, तो चौथे पन में दशरथ जी महाराज ने इसी भूमि पे पुत्रेष्टि कामय यज्ञ किए थे।
अयोध्या में सभी तरफ भी राम है।
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे।
Divine meets divinity in Ayodhya. This is Mani Parvat.
ये वो स्थल है जब मां जानकी जी विवाह होकर श्री अयोध्या जी पधारी। अपार धन वैभव ऐश्वर्य दिया श्री जनक जी महाराज ने कि हमारी बिटिया खूब सुख समृद्ध रहेगी।
सीता राम नाम कीर्तन।
एक कीर्तन है जो 12 साल का है, चलते रहेगा। 3.5 साल हो गया ये।
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour, and it's time now to get you a quick relook at the top stories once again. US lists Houthis as terrorists. Yemen's Houthis hit another US-operated ship. US shipping operator Genco confirms attack on Genco Picardy bulk carrier. Victory for British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. UK Parliament's lower house approves controversial Rwanda asylum legislation. Indian economy expected to grow at 7.3% in the current fiscal, says RBI Governor at World Economic Forum in Davos. India prevails over Afghanistan in a double super over thriller, clinches the series 3-0. And up next, we get you all the buzz being generated in the build-up to the consecration ceremony of Ram Temple at India's holy city of Ayodhya on 22nd of January. Ahead of the consecration of the Ram Temple in the North Indian state of Ayodhya, the procession of the idol of Lord Ram has completed and the recitation of the scholar Valmiki's Anand Ramayana has begun. Now, the resolution will take place on Thursday afternoon. Many other rituals and ceremonies are lined up for today in the temple city of Ayodhya. The idol of Lord Ram has been brought inside the sanctum sanctorum of the Ram Temple in Uttar Pradesh's Ayodhya, where the grand consecration ceremony will take place next week. A special prayer was held in the sanctum sanctorum before the idol was brought inside with the help of a crane. The mega event in Ayodhya has created buzz all over. The temple city is all decked up with lights, flowers and lamps. Flowers from the Indian city of Hapur are also going to be sent to Ayodhya to adorn the temple decorations. An order to send 10 tons of flowers to Ayodhya has been received by this flower farm. The first consignment of flowers has been sent on Thursday. People across India are excited for the grand ceremony in Ayodhya. A couple from Mandapeta town in the southern Indian state of Andhra Pradesh have sent decorated coconuts for the consecration ceremony at Ayodhya on January 22nd. The couple was seen decorating the coconuts with beads and bright paintings before sending them to Ayodhya. And we've been regularly telling you how Ayodhya is gearing up for the big day. The local economy has witnessed a sharp rise as devotees and tourists pour into the temple town. DD India's Siddharth Bharadwaj reports.
In the heart of Ayodhya, where spirituality meets commerce, the landscape is evolving. The city has witnessed a sharp rise in the overall economy. And the surge in tourism has not only graced the city with newfound cultural significance, but also has witnessed a sharp rise in business activities.
In a profound intersection of spirituality and economic resurgence, Ayodhya stands as a testament to transformation. The soon-to-be-held consecration of the Ram temple has not only elevated the city's cultural significance, but has triggered a sharp uptick in business activities. Ayodhya is experiencing a profound economic upswing. The pilgrimage to this holy site has transformed into a pilgrimage for prosperity, as businesses across the city witness a notable surge in activities. From bustling hospitality ventures to vibrant retail markets, Ayodhya is undergoing a metamorphosis driven by the influx of devotees and tourists.
The opening of Ram temple, once it gets going, actually it is going to contribute a lot towards the growth of this place, both economically, socially and everything. As you can see, with the opening of airport and the revamp of the railway station, the bus stands, everything, a lot of influx is going to come into the place, and naturally when tourists come in, it will boost towards the economy. A lot of business is going to come.
Ayodhya becoming the hub of pilgrimage now. Everyone wants to visit. It is not just from India, but across the world we will have religious tourism increase exponentially, and this huge increase will definitely have to be backed up by better economic resources in the city.
At the heart of this economic renaissance are Ayodhya's local vendors. Traditional crafts and offerings are finding a burgeoning market, turning the city's marketplaces into vibrant hubs of activity. Ayodhya isn't just witnessing a spiritual revival, it's becoming an economic hub. The echoes of prosperity are interwoven with the sacred chants, shaping a future where the city's destiny is defined by the harmonious blend of faith and commerce.
As Ayodhya gears up for the big day, the consecration ceremony on January 22nd, it's not just the spiritual vibrations that resonate, it's the hum of a booming economy. With camera person Piyush Vardhan Verma, this is Siddharth Bharadwaj reporting for DD India in Ayodhya.
A Deepotsav or light festival and Rangoli program was organized at the Curfew Wali Mata temple in the central Indian state of Madhya Pradesh's Bhopal. People from all walks of life and age groups gathered to light oil lamps and decorate the Rangoli pattern, which depicted the grandeur of the upcoming consecration ceremony in Ayodhya. The 12th General Assembly of the Asian Buddhist Conference for Peace is taking place in India after 5 decades. The theme is the Buddhist Voice of Global South. Indian Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar termed it significant because India is where Buddhism was born and spread to the world. Indian Cabinet Minister Kiren Rijiju, who was also guest of honor, said that Prime Minister Modi has always emphasized that Indians are proud to belong to a nation that has given the world Buddha, not Yuddha, meaning war.
At the 12th ABCP General Assembly, under the timely theme,
ABCP, the Buddhist voice of Global South. Friends, this coincides with India's growing leadership role, amplifying the voices of Global South, as evidenced by its G20 presidency and the Voice of Global South Summit. India is committed to representing the concerns of nations with 3/4 of the world's population. The motto is soothing, as Bharat as a nation has been guided by the principles of Bhagwan Buddha.
Any nation which aspires to be a global leader must follow the teachings of Lord Buddha. Then only you can morally, spiritually, politically, culturally lead the world.
At the India International Science Festival being organized in New Delhi, young scientists from IIT Madras displayed the prototype of a hyperloop that they have been working on. The project is being funded by the Indian Railways. DD India's Dibyendu Mondal spoke to Harry, a young scientist working on this project. Let's watch it.
At the India International Science Festival in Faridabad, I'm joined by a young student, Harry, who has developed a prototype of, you must have heard about Elon Musk's Hyperloop. So we are hoping to get something like this in India's own indigenously built Hyperloop. Harry, can you explain us about what this is and for the benefit of our viewers, what this is and at what stage of development this is?
So this is a we are a company called Tutor Hyperloop. So we are incubated out of IIT Madras incubation cell, and this is a still model of a Hyperloop prototype. So this you can see is a vacuum tube. So what happens is, like, we will have vehicles which runs inside vacuum tube with magnetic levitation. So there won't be any opposing force that is created for the vehicle. So what happens is it will propel like a bullet. So once you propel it, it will go on forever. So since there is no force that is opposing it, it can go to speeds up to 700-800 km/h. As of now, we are building a 400-meter long test facility at IIT Madras and also a subscale vehicle for testing in it, which we are expecting to complete around April this year.
Well, of course, I'm also being told that this project is being funded by the Indian Railways, that is also helping you guys to develop such prototypes. And can you give us more insight as to, where, at what stage of, or perhaps by when can we see a full-scale model being presented at the IIT Madras?
Yes, so as of now, the Indian Railways has given us some grant to build a 400-meter long tube. So we have almost built 200 meter out of it. So still 200 meter is left. So we are expecting to complete by next month. So, and we will do testing of we are also building a pod which is around 1 ton weight. So we will test it in the tube for some time. And for a full scale operation, initially we are thinking to go into cargo. So then we will go into passengers, as there are safety concerns and everything has to be proven for this as it's a new technology. So you can expect some cargo, maybe from a port to some kind of terminal. So we can expect around 2028 to 2030.
That's a wonderful thing, Harry. And as you can see, this is also being known as the 5th mode of transport in the world, and this could perhaps be a game changer if this becomes a reality. And Hyperloop is something that the world is looking at. With camera person Vinay, this is Dibyendu Mondal from Faridabad for DD India.
India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, will lead the Indian delegation at the 19th Summit of the Non-Aligned Movement to be held in Kampala, Uganda on 19th and 20th of January. The summit will be preceded by deliberations at the ministerial and senior official levels. The 19th NAM Summit under the leadership of Uganda is being held under the theme Deepening Cooperation of Shared Global Affluence and brings together more than 120 developing countries on a platform of crucial historic significance. On the sidelines of the NAM Summit, the minister is expected to meet with the Ugandan leadership and the counterparts from NAM member states. The minister will travel to Nigeria on an official visit from 21st to 23rd January. The minister will co-chair the 6th India-Nigeria Joint Commission meeting with his counterpart and meet with other leaders. India and Nigeria have traditionally enjoyed close and friendly relations. This is the minister's first visit to Nigeria, which will further consolidate bilateral relations between the two countries. The Indian government's biggest outreach program, Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra, reached the South Indian state of Andhra Pradesh. The program reached Anantapuram district's Turakapalli village. Short films of the schemes implemented by the central government were shown to the public. Program calendars were also unveiled. The beneficiaries of the program interacted with officials and expressed happiness. All right, let's take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across India. Following a prolonged wait, Chamoli district of North Indian state of Uttarakhand witnessed the onset of snowfall on Wednesday. Significant snowfall was reported in key locations such as Badrinath Dham, Hemkund Sahib. Even Hanuman Chatti saw a blanket of snow. Sand artist Doordarshan Patnaik created sand sculptures at Puri beach on the occasion of inauguration of Sri Mandira Parikrama Prakalpa. The masterpiece features idols of the siblings deities of Jagannath temple overlooking the newly built heritage corridor. The artistic expression beautifully captures the sense of the occasion while paying homage to Lord Jagannath. Ahead of Ram Temple's consecration ceremony, Shivaji Park in Dadar area of India's financial capital Mumbai was decorated and lit up with a replica of Ram Temple. All right, we're heading for a short break, but a quick glimpse into what's ahead. Apple will remove blood oxygen monitoring feature from some watch models after court ruling. India's shuttler HS Pranoy has set up second-round clash against Priyanshu Rajawat at India Open Super 750 Series on Thursday. Also, we'll get you updates on the first Grand Slam of the year, Australian Open.
मख माने जो है यज्ञ होता है, तो इसी जगह पे जब दशरथ जी महाराज के पास जब कोई पुत्र नहीं था, तो चौथे पन में दशरथ जी महाराज ने इसी भूमि पे पुत्रेष्टि कामय यज्ञ किए थे।
अयोध्या में सभी तरफ भी राम है। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे।
Divine meets divinity in Ayodhya. This is Mani Parvat.
ये वो स्थल है जब मां जानकी जी विवाह होकर श्री अयोध्या जी पधारी। अपार धन वैभव ऐश्वर्य दिया श्री जनक जी महाराज ने कि हमारी बिटिया खूब सुख समृद्ध रहेगी।
सीता राम नाम कीर्तन,
एक कीर्तन है जो 12 साल का है, चलते रहेगा। 3.5 साल हो गया ये।
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Let's get you updates from the world of business now. India's economy is expected to grow at 7.3% in the financial year 2024, said the Indian Central Bank Governor Shaktikant Das. Now, as part of the discussions on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum, he said that India's growth momentum will be maintained in the future years as durable signs of India's growth momentum are being maintained and are visible.
Financial year, RBI's growth projection was 7%. The NSO, National Statistics Office, has said 7.3%. So in fact, when we said 7% for current year, there were a lot of opinion, a lot of views outside that RBI was over-projecting. But in actuality, the National Statistics Office, which has a lot more data, has said 7.3% for current year. And for next year, that is the financial year 24-25, what I mentioned is that my sense is that India's GDP growth will touch 7%.
Recently, global rating agency Fitch Ratings affirmed India's long-term foreign currency rating with a stable outlook. Das supported his comments based on a lot of in-house research and analysis. He further said this is an opportune time for investors to invest in India. He said that there is a lot of international confidence in India, the technology story built around India, the growth prospects of India, and the macroeconomic and financial sector stability that India offers. India's semiconductor mission is focused on talent development and redesigning the entire chip. It was stated by India's Minister of Electronics and Information Technology, Ashwini Vaishnav, on Wednesday at the World Economic Forum annual meeting. The minister said that India is advancing from being in back office to actually producing the complete chip, or rather designing the complete chip. He also called India the right place for developing semiconductors, as the country has a large pool of talent. It includes close to 300,000 design engineers who practically design every complex chip which is manufactured in the world. He said India is looking to develop the complete ecosystem of semiconductors, including design capabilities and manufacturing software and hardware part of it. Energy sector leaders from around the world are looking forward to collaborating with India in its confident journey towards achieving energy self-sufficiency. Now, this positive sentiment was expressed by President and Group CEO of Malaysian energy major Petronas on the sidelines of Davos.
It's a pleasure to deal with the government of India. They have had a fabulous track record in commitment in demonstrating what they want to do with their energy mix. Structurally, this is probably going to be one of the lighthouse economies in Asia under Modi Shri's stewardship, leading towards making India a far more sustainable economy. Well done.
As Apple shares slumped after US court ruling that banned the import of 2 flagship Apple Watch models, the company said on Wednesday that it would remove the blood oxygen monitoring feature from the watch models in the US. The iPhone maker was in a legal battle with a medical technology company, Masimo, over patents on the technology behind the feature. Earlier, analysts also said that Apple should disable the disputed feature to comply with the ban and keep the watch on sale. Up next, sports updates. We talk of cricket first. India's skipper Rohit Sharma turned out to be a saviour thrice in the 30-20 match against Afghanistan as the hosts completed the series whitewash. Indian skipper slammed 100 in regulation time and then played 2 cameos to help India fight past a fierce Afghanistan in a dramatic match that concluded after 2 super overs. Rohit, who scored 121 not out, and Rinku Singh, who remained unbeaten on 69, shared 190 runs for the 5th wicket. India came back from a shaky 22 for 4 to post a massive 212 for 4. Chasing 212, Afghanistan too ended with the same score, with Gulbuddin Naib hammering a 23-ball 55 to lead his team's stunning comeback. India equalled Afghanistan's score of 16 in the first super over to stretch the match, but the visitors could not chase down a target of 12 in the second super over as the host picked the required 2 wickets through Ravi Bishnoi. In badminton, India's shuttler HS Pranoy has set up a second-round clash against Priyanshu Rajawat at India Open Super 750 Series on Thursday. Asian Games bronze medalist HS Pranoy packed off Chinese Taipei's Chou Ten-chen in straight games on the opening day of the tournament on Tuesday, while Rajawat came from a game down to upset Commonwealth Games gold medalist Lakshya Sen. Star Indian shuttler Satvik Sairaj Rankireddy and Chirag Shetty breezed into the second round of the men's doubles event at India Open Super 750 tournament on Wednesday here in New Delhi. World number 2 Satvik and Chirag, who had finished runners-up at Malaysia Super 1000 last week in Kuala Lumpur, egged out a 21-15, 19-21, 21-16 win over Fang Xili and Fang Zhenli of Chinese Taipei. Indian women's hockey team will take on Germany in the semi-final of the FIH Hockey Olympic qualifiers match on Thursday after a splendid 5-1 win against Italy in India's eastern city of Ranchi. India's winning goals were scored by Udita, Deepika, Salima Tete and Navneet Kaur. For Italy, Camilla Machine saved the blushes by scoring the lone goal. India began this match against Italy at a rollicking pace, winning a penalty corner in the very first minute of the match. Taking the strike, Udita came up with a perfect slap shot to net the goal. While the second quarter remained goalless, India extended their lead in the third quarter with stupendous goals by Deepika, followed by a brilliant field goal by Salima. Udita was also awarded the player of the match for her efforts. In tennis, in Australian Open, Russia's Elena Avanesian bagged a massive upset in the second round, knocking out world number 8 Maria Sakkari 6-4, 6-4. The 21-year-old, playing at the Melbourne Grand Slam for the first time, caused problems for Sakkari throughout the match as she mixed up her game nicely. Avinizan will next face Ukraine's Marta Kostyuk, who rallied from a set down to beat Belgian Elise Martins 5-7, 6-1, 7-6. All right, that's it in this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, and also Instagram. We'll be back with more updates as they break here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.